everyone, I'm Davin Chitwood with Kirkham Iron Tech, and I have our founder and CEO, Tom Kirkham, here today. And I was curious, Tom, what are your thoughts on the dark web? I know that's a gentle and touchy subject, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little nerdy, but any of you that have watched any of mine or our videos, you often hear me say the dark web is where all the bad guys hang out, right? That's where they coordinate their attacks, and they coordinate their companies and their specialties and all of these different things. And the military spends a lot of time there too, so they know who all the players are and for differing objectives. But it's a lot bigger than most people realize it. It requires special technology, but it's all free. Anybody can get it. I have it on my computer. I go out there on it every once in a while. But if you're just curious and you just want to go out there and see if it's really as bad as I say it is and other experts say it is, and you don't have a specific need to go out there, don't. It's a dangerous place. You know, imagine the most crime-ridden neighborhood in your city and hanging out on street corners or dark alleys at 3 a.m. with drug dealers and all the other nefarious things. And it's just dangerous. And the same thing with the dark web. For example, once you connect up to the dark web, you're being monitored. Somebody's making sure it's not the FBI or whoever, you know, and they can smell what's known in the nerd world, a noob or a newbie. They can just smell them right out, right? And so if you use the Tor browser, which is probably the most common way to connect, it makes you semi-anonymous, although there are, you know, you pretty much can assume any military cyber unit can still get through that. There's other ways around it, so just don't worry about that. I don't want to get that nerdy. But so that Tor browser, it's a web browser just like Chrome or Safari. It's just Tor. And it connects up where you're pseudo-anonymous, more or less, and it uses, you know, a peer network of servers all over the world, so your packets are distributed out and everything. But one of the cool things about the Tor browser is it does not go into full screen mode.
And why is that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Why not? Because you're giving clues about your system if you go into full screen mode, because it'll see the resolution that window is set at. And then if you go to full screen, it knows the resolution of your monitor or your laptop or your phone. And if they want to attack you, they've got another piece of information that they can use to exploit vulnerabilities on your iPhone or your Android phone or your Windows laptop or your Surface laptop, whatever. And that's just another piece of information. And if you're ever on the dark web, one thing you want to do is you don't want anything that can be used to connect you back to your real world life. Now, I don't go out there very often. Sometimes I get curious, or I'll read a research report and I want to see just maybe how easy it is to get this specific hacking tool. And I'll spend a little time there until usually, you know, I've gone down a rabbit hole or many rabbit holes and just, wow. And then I get creeped out and I have to take a shower. I mean, it's a dirty, the worst of humanity is available on the dark web. And so once again, the best practice is don't go there unless you absolutely have to, and stay off of it, because you're just you're inviting problems with yourself. When I go on there, I've got yet another layer of protection. So I'm like double, triple, quadruple distributing packets all over the world where I'm untrackable. But it's a tricky place to go. I just thought it'd be a great topic to talk about.
Yeah, and I do want to point out one thing. We talked about password managers in a recent video, and a part of some password managers is dark web monitoring. And regarding dark web monitoring, and you can probably talk on this a little bit more, Tom, as well. Really, the focus is on seeing if your credentials or personal identifier or your private information is on the dark web, and that's something that that dark web monitoring is usually overlooked but it's still a layer of security that's needed in today's time. Say a password, you have a password breach and multiple password breaches. How are you supposed to find out what logins are breached, which ones are compromised? And that's where the dark web monitoring, which is a tool that is usually paired with a password manager, is very, very important. So I definitely wanted to make sure and make sure to add that in there as well.
Yeah, that's something I don't talk enough about. And dark web monitoring, if you use a password manager, I think both of the ones we recommend, I'm sure has a Keeper does.
Keeper.
And so anyway, it will alert you if or when Facebook gets compromised again. So your Facebook credentials are for sale on the dark web, or it's free on the dark web, and it'll let you know so you can go out and change your credentials. Now, if you've turned on MFA, like I've recommended,
yes,
you don't have to get into a big hurry or to panic unless you're reusing passwords, which is not good.
Sorry. Yeah.
But if you've got MFA, that's even if they got your username and password, they still can't get into your Facebook or Amazon account because they will not have that MFA. Yes. So, but yeah, monitoring it, keeping an eye on it, that's a great idea. And that's another benefit of using a password manager.
That's exactly right. Well, if you all have any questions or any topics you'd specifically like for us to talk about, feel free to send them over or feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to add those in. But until next time, I'll talk to you later.